What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another vlog, and thank you so much for tuning in. As always, your love and support means the absolute world to me. Couldn't thank you guys enough for it. Now, you guys might be wondering, Jordan, why the heck are you standing outside right now? It seems kind of cold. And yeah, to answer your question, it is frigid right now. Today is November 22nd. This morning, we actually set a brand new record here in Toronto, Canada. We reached the coldest temperature ever recorded for this day in the history of temperature monitoring. We reached negative 16 degrees Celsius, which is around 3 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's not even factoring in the wind chill. So it was absolutely cold, and it is still really cold. I mean, I've been standing outside right now for like 2 minutes trying to do this intro to the vlog, and my fingers are numb, and my face is hurting, and it is really cold. So anyways, thought you guys might think that's cool. For all you guys living in Texas and Florida and all those other southern states and California and all those crazy warm places, you guys are so freaking lucky. You have no idea, because on this side of the border, it is really cold. So anyways, we're just about to head down to the shop. I'm just grabbing my keys, getting in the car. We're gonna go check out some cool animals and talk about today's topic. So let's get this show on the road. All right, guys, so before we get into the topic of today, I want to give you a little bit of update on a couple of snakes that I got. Number one being the yellow belly dream skull, an absolute stunning snake. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you've already seen her before, but let's check her out really fast. She has been an absolute machine since I got her. She eats every single week. She's getting more vibrant. The oranges are really starting to pop on her body. And you can just see each and every single band is just so intense and vibrant in color. So just a really beautiful snake. One of my definite favorites. All right, guys, so the next snake I want to give you a little bit of an update on is my Fire Gotham, which is the Fire Banana Leopard Clown. Reason being is because she's starting to put on a little bit of size now. She's definitely doubled her size since I got her a few months ago. And the first couple of freckles are starting to come in on her back. And it's really cool to see. I mean, when I first got her, she was perfectly clean. There was no freckling whatsoever. And now you're getting a little bit of black spots here and there come in, which is pretty much indicative of all bananas. However, that being said, I'm being told that the fire and the leopard gene helped to clean that up. So she's definitely not going to get anywhere near as many freckles as a standard banana. So let's check her out really fast, because she is an absolutely beautiful snake. So here she is. Now, I'm not sure if you can actually see it, but if you look closely enough on her back, she's definitely got a few freckles coming all the way down to her tail. And another really cool thing is, even though she's double in size, the red-orange banding between the lavender and the yellows on her back are still holding up really nicely, as well as all the bubbles on the side of her body. So her coloration is still just so amazing, and definitely that fire gene really helps to bring out that snake's color. So I hope you guys enjoyed checking out those cool snakes again. I know you guys have seen them before, but they're some of my favorites, and I just love watching them evolve over time. I mean, I'm getting to see all these amazing snakes grow before my eyes. I'm getting to see what happens to their colors, and it's just so awesome. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. But anyways, let's move on from that and get into the actual topic of today's video. And today's topic is, how do you start a ball python breeding business? Where do you start? How do you get everything going? Hopefully you guys can take away a few pointers in this video that'll help you improve your chances at success. So let's get right into it. Number one step out of 5 is planning and research. Okay, do as much research as possible before you buy a single snake. In my case, it took me about 8 months. I went to a couple of shows. I spent about 8 months researching and watching all kinds of videos from the different breeders out there before I even bought a single snake. Guys, so important. Research, understand how genes work, understand the cost, understand what it is that these snakes need for care requirements, their feeding habits, all this. You just gotta research as much as possible, okay? Now the second part of that is planning. Before you buy a snake, guys, you need to ask yourselves what it is you wanna work with. You don't just wanna go out and buy a whole bunch of snakes and hope to God that you're gonna be successful, okay? That's not how it works. You have to have a vision. You have to know exactly what it is you want to create or what it is you want to work with. In my case, I was very specific. I chose 2 genes, clown and pied. My entire collection right now is centered around clown and pied. Does that mean I'm only going to work with clown and pied my whole life? Definitely not. But remember, I am going into potentially my very first breeding season, and I want to make sure that my ability to piece together the puzzles is not going to be confusing. If I have a whole rack of all kinds of different genes and it's all over the place, I'm really going to be confused. You guys will be confused, and you're not going to have a clear focus and a clear direction. So for now, I've chose to be specific. I'm working with my two favorite genes, and then in the future, as I get more and more experience, I'll start adding in or trickling in more projects down the road. So that's how you guys can get started on step number 1. All right guys, so step number 2 is equipment costs. A lot of people really underestimate how expensive it is just from the equipment standpoint to get started in the ball python breeding business. Now, there's 2 types of people, okay? You can be like me where you're completely, utterly useless at building anything, which means you're forced into buying professional grade equipment, or you could be a guy that is an amazing do-it-yourself and you can build your own racks. Doesn't really matter, whatever type of person you are, there is a cost to doing both sides. Now let's talk about the actual professional stuff, okay? A full system hybrid 1075 hatchling from ARS Caging, which by the way, make amazing racking systems. They also have amazing customer service, and I got to meet the gentleman who runs the whole show at Tinley Park in Chicago, and he's just an amazing dude. So if you guys want to get professional caging, definitely recommend you to check out their website at arscaging.com. But anyways, back to this. This full system here, which is only one racking system, which comes with the heat pads, all the tubs, everything already pre-installed, it's about $2,200 US, which is a ton of money. And that's just one system, guys. Remember, if you've got a rack of 20 breeder females and half of them go, and they all produce 6 eggs at the very least, and all of these babies hatch out, man, that's a lot of babies. These, although may look large, they're gonna fill up pretty quick. So that's just one system. Now you're gonna think about also buying a 50-40 system for the subadults so they can actually breed in. That's another cost. So just in 2 racks, one for subadults and one for hatchlings, you're already almost at $5,000, okay? That doesn't account for your incubators, that doesn't account for your snake equipment, doesn't account for the bedding. If you choose to use natural bedding, there's a big cost to that as well, or if you're gonna go with paper. The list goes on, and guys, all I'm trying to say is make sure that you understand exactly how much it's gonna cost for you to do it, and don't cheap out, and don't take the short road, guys, because again, the health of the animal and the quality of the facility takes precedent over anything. You definitely don't want to put the animal's health at risk to save a couple of dollars, okay? So if you're gonna do this, make sure you do it right, but make sure you understand the costs associated with setting up your business. All right, guys, so step number 3, which happens to be the very step that I made a big mistake on, and that is planning your rodent supply. Now, in the beginning, I only had intentions of buying, a dozen snakes. I figured, hey, there's more than enough rodents out there. Not the case. Guys, at least here in Ontario, we have a huge shortage of live feeder rodents. I didn't know this prior to buying anything, and a lot of the guys that do produce on a large scale are not gonna go out of their way to deliver you 10 rodents. It just doesn't make sense, especially when most of them live really far away from the city. So that paired with the fact that we only have a couple of really well-known rodent breeders, if one guy decides to get sick or he doesn't want to show up, it's really unfortunate. And let me tell you guys, it sucks so much to have to rely on someone else to feed your collection. So the big mistake I made, and I've already had a couple of frustrating moments where I've had to, contact other rodent suppliers or even other breeders if they could pass down some rodents to me. Luckily, we've got through that and I have a pretty consistent supply now, but there was a little bit of a headache there. And I think it's very important for you guys not to make that mistake, because there's nothing worse than having a whole rack full of snakes. Then all of a sudden you can't find rodents for a week or two. Your pet stores don't supply enough frozen ones, or maybe you don't want to feed frozen. Doesn't really matter. The point is, before you buy the animals, make sure that you have a reliable and consistent source of rodents available to you, so that way there is no interruption in your feeding schedule. Here, I feed all my snakes once a week. I want to maintain that consistency, and I want to make sure that if one of my suppliers can't be there that first week or that 1 week, that I have someone else to go to get rodents. So it's a little bit of a headache, a little bit of a challenge that I had to deal with early on. Luckily, I got through it, but had I have actually taken the time to plan that out prior to buying, I wouldn't have been in the situation I was in about a month ago. So guys, again, make sure before you buy anything, you know exactly who's going to supply you of rodents, and you know 100% that they are going to be consistent. If you're going to be producing your own, then that's totally fine as well. Actually, that's preferred. I recommend everybody to produce their own rodents if they can, because you get to control what goes into your snake. You know what feed is getting fed to your rodents, and you just have everything yourself. You don't have to rely on anybody. So that's something else, if you're going to go in that direction, that you also have to plan, because rodents are extremely smelly. You know, listen, there's a lot of guys doing it in their houses. If you're going to be doing breeding on a large scale, let me tell you, you're not going to want to have a whole bunch of racks of rats sitting in your house, because your whole house is going to smell. So regardless of what direction you guys choose to take, whether it's produce your own or getting from a supplier, make sure that that is set up prior to the actual purchasing of the snakes. Okay guys, so step number 4, let's say you got through planning and research, you've already accounted for all your equipment, and you got all the equipment you need, and you've already landed a actual consistent supplier of rodents, and you're ready to get into the actual buying of the snakes. There's one point I want to stress as much as possible, and that is what to buy. Okay, in the beginning, if you guys are buying hatchlings, do not buy a single male. It doesn't matter what a breeder says to you. It doesn't matter how cheap it is or how much of a good deal it is. Stay away from the males, guys. If you're going to be buying a rack full of female hatchlings, you've got most likely at least 3 years before any of these girls are going to be up to size and ready to breed. Males take way less time. Some males have been known to breed as early as 4 months, and generally speaking, most males reach breeding size by their first year. So nothing worse than for you guys to go out and spend money, whether it's $500 or $5,000 on a crazy male because you were told it was such a great deal, just to find out that it's going to sit in your rack for the next 2 or 3 years not doing anything. Terrible, guys, because you know what? The money that you spent on the male today, I guarantee you in 3 years from now, you'll be able to buy the same male for half the price, or with 2 other genes on top of them. In the beginning, all you should focus on is buying females, okay? Don't spend all your money on females. You want to make sure you keep some money aside so that when it comes time to buying the males, you can start planning your projects. But in the beginning, it's all about the females. Another reason why you only want to buy females is because what you think today is a great plan, that may change over time. You might see somebody put out a video tomorrow of a really awesome, amazing snake. You're like, wow, I got to make that. And then, so you go out and buy the female and you go out and buy the male. And then 2 years from now, that snake exists, but with a bunch of other genes on it, and it looks even better. You're like, wow, I want to make that too. So you just don't know where the trends are going to go. None of us do. You don't know what's going to happen. You want to make sure that at the end of the day, you can't have any production without females. So it's very important to have the females in the rack, but wait a couple of years or at least a year and a half before you start buying males to see what cool projects are out there and get proper deals on males that you're actually gonna be able to utilize. Okay guys, so the last point before I end today's vlog is on financing and taking out loans and all that stuff. That's step number 5 that I really wanna kind of touch on. So I consider myself to have been very successful so far with some investments. Now, when it comes to borrowing money, guys, don't do it. I am not a fan, at least not in the beginning. If you've already established a great breeding plan and you're having some mild success and you want to blow up a collection and you've already proven to yourself that A, you can make money, and B, you have enough to sustain the collection, then you know what, that's a different story. But if you're brand new in the business, please don't do it. I've already heard stories of people messaging me saying they've mortgaged their houses to buy a collection and all that stuff. They've never bred anything in their lives. Guys, my whole collection is bought with cash. I don't owe money anywhere. I haven't borrowed for it. I didn't mortgage my house. I didn't do any of that stuff, okay? So I don't want to see that happen to other people as well, because guys, to give you an example, my line of work, I work in the auto industry. I've been working in the auto industry for about 7 years now in a dealership network. And just because I've been working in a dealership for 7 years doesn't mean that if somebody handed me the keys and the deed to that dealership that I would continue to be able to run it into success. Okay, anybody can go out and buy a whole bunch of stuff, a bunch of animals, but having the vision, the creativity, and the executional skills to actually turn it into a successful business is not for everybody. I don't even know if it's for me yet. I'm still learning as I go. At least I didn't borrow and I'm not paying interest on all that stuff. So guys, I don't want to see you guys put yourselves in bad financial situations. You know, prove it out first, have a few breeding seasons, have some success, have some sales, go to a couple of shows, meet some people, network a little bit, prove out the proof of concept stage, and then if you want to blow yourself up and take out a small loan to acquire some new animals, go for it. But in the beginning, definitely a bad idea. Try to work within your means. Don't stretch yourselves, because if you're stretched, you're going to make poor decisions, you're going to cut corners, because you're going to be trying to save money everywhere you go, and the animals may suffer and the business may suffer as a result of that. So make sure that you are well prepared for it. Make sure you've set yourself a realistic goal. So that's really all I have to say, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's vlog. I hope you guys learned something. Hope you enjoyed it. My next vlog may not be next week. It depends. I'm currently working on going to a very large and amazing facility that's local here in Canada. So I'm going to be vlogging that. So I'm not sure if I'll have a video out next week for you guys. We've also got the next Toronto Expo coming up in December. I'm going to be doing that vlog, and then we're going to be going to Christmas. So hopefully I'll get another 2 or 3 videos out before the new year. But I promise you guys, in the new year, I'm going to do a much better job at getting out some more content. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. It means the world to me. And guys, the #1 place to get a hold of me is on Instagram. If you're not following me, make sure you check me out there. Hopefully, fingers crossed, by the time this video airs, I will have finally reached that 10,000 follower milestone, which I'm so excited for on Instagram. And I couldn't have done it without all you guys. So again, thank you so much, and I'll see you guys on a future video.